TV's Rick Blood is here!
Rick Blood. Rick Blood.
Rick Blood. Breathe live!
Hey, that's cool!
Hey, welcome to Unfiltered. Another week. It was kind of a quick start there from Andrea. She's like, I'm gonna start the DVD recorder. And then she's like, okay, we're starting. Here we go. All right. Where do I want to start? Do I want to start? Yeah, because it's gonna get real hot in here real quick. So let me get through these really ones that really made me mad first. So I'm watching TV last night. And I see a news story about the Social Security Administration. Seems that 700 Social Security executives took a 3-day lavish retreat that cost $700,000, paid for by us taxpayers, because they were stressed. Yeah, I don't know what they got to be stressed about, but they went to some big resort in Phoenix, Arizona, I think. And $700,000. They had like meetings, and they had a stress relief dance for Social Security. If I cut my arm off tomorrow, I will get $139 a month. Yet these guys can go off on a 700 of them. And it costs $700,000. That's $1,000 a piece for a 3-day weekend. Because they're stressed.
It was fun.
I'm feeling a little stressed myself, you know? But nobody offers me a 3-day weekend. Well, I can't say that. I spend a week in Vegas every year for my part of my stress relief. But yeah, that's just crazy. So, and I'm upset. That's all I'm going to say. It's the government again. We got Obama pushing for the socialized health care. Meanwhile, 14% of his presidency has been spent not here. He's spent 14% so far of his presidency has been spent in other countries. This is a guy, he's shooting for the record. I'm pretty sure that I heard that if he keeps on the pace that he's going right now, by the end of his first term, he will have visited more foreign countries than any president in their entire term. So yeah, I mean, I want to be the president. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time in your country, but I want to be your president. Crazy. So that's like the stuff that I'm upset about. But let me give you some good news. Some great news. On Tuesday, July 14th, Cheshire TV celebrated its 3rd birthday with an incredible birthday bash extravaganza. Ones of people came. Basically, it was just me. I had a little cake with a candle. So Cheshire TV is now 3 years old, and we're damn close to potty trained. See, it's almost like we can run real fast, but we still fall down sometimes. But we're working on it. Eventually, we'll be able to just run forever. But no, things are going great. As a matter of fact, I was in 7-Eleven on my way at home from work last night, and Don Parker from the school board came up to me and said hi, and he wanted to thank me for everything that Cheshire TV does for the school board, and how the school board is so much better off now that, you know, they've had the exposure on the channel and people can see what they're doing and understand a little bit more about the process. You know, and yeah, it's a great thing, and it feels really good when somebody comes up on the street like that and says that. All right. Other good news, this week is the 40th anniversary of the Apollo 11 mission. As a matter of fact, on Thursday, the day that we filmed this show, was the 40th anniversary of the liftoff of Apollo 11. And NASA has re-released the moonwalk video, but they've cleaned it up. You know, they're basically going the way of Hollywood. You know, they can't come up with any new ideas of stuff to film. So they're just going to remaster the old stuff, clean it up. It's still just a horrible black and white picture. But
Michael Jackson in it?
you know what? I'm glad you mentioned Michael Jackson, Greg, because the last guy, I mean, I thought it was all over. I thought we'd heard the last of Michael Jackson, you know, after the 3 weeks of funeral talk and everything. But I turned on the TV, I think it was yesterday, and they're talking about that accident in the 80s. Remember where he walked through the pyro show and his head caught on fire? Yeah. And, I mean, they're talking all about that again. Oh, maybe it was pain because he caught his head on fire. I don't know. You know, it was probably pain from the 50 damn facelifts he had and the skin bleachings and who knows what else he had done to himself. But I'm sure he was not the only person ever to catch his head on fire during a rock and roll show.
No.
You know? I mean, I'm pretty sure Gene Simmons from Kiss, fire breather. You tell me he never had any accidents. Pretty sure at one point something went wrong.
Well, Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor. Well, I mean, that was a little bit different. That was strictly an after the show kind of explosion there. Because for any of you real young kids that don't know the Richard Pryor story, look it up, read about it. Basically, what he was doing, he was trying to freebase cocaine, which is cook it and smoke it, which I think now is freebasing and crack the same thing. Yeah, all right. He was doing that, had some reactions, the chemicals reacted, and boom, pretty much blew up his face. But, you know, don't harp on that. That's not why he did all the drugs. He did all the drugs because he was rich and he was stupid. You know, and he could afford to own a few doctors. That's the thing. I'd be on all kinds of prescription medicine if I owned a couple of doctors. Of course I would. If I was like Elvis, Elvis was so smart, not only did he own a few doctors, he owned a pharmacy. So he could just fill the prescriptions himself. You know, stand around when the shipments came in and go, oh, this box is mine. But yeah, if I had, you know, that kind of money, why not? I mean, I'm sure Andrea's got some things to say during NASCAR where this is concerned, because one of the NASCAR drivers, Jeremy Mayfield, failed his second drug test for methamphetamines. A fourth one, Bruce? Jesus. Guy's a worse speed freak than I am.
You only get 2 strikes.
You should only get 2 strikes. Should only get 1 strike.
You got to give him a second strike.
But no, it's nuts. I mean, like driving around a racetrack at 200 miles an hour isn't fast enough. You know, what I can't understand is why would he want to do crystal, you know, meth like that? I took speed on a bus ride one time and went out of my gourd because you're just sitting there going 1,000,000 miles an hour.
You'd probably be good for driving.
But if you're driving, man, that's basically just sitting there.
Yeah, you could probably veg.
You know, and then with a helmet on, when your head starts doing all that weird stuff. No, man. No. It's just not right. It's not right. Like this one. I'll save that one. I'll do this one. I'll do the plug now. Because people have asked me for information about the Ladies of the Rainbow drag show coming up. It is called The Queens of Summer. And it's on July 24th at the Moose Lodge in Keene. The doors open at 8 o'clock. The show starts at 9 o'clock. Tickets are $15 in advance, $20 at the door. Reserve early. Take my word for it. Reserve early. Because the place will be packed. For information and ticket purchasing, you can call, get your pens. I'll give you just a second. See, because when people watch TV, they're not prepared. They don't sit there with a pen and paper in front of them. So get a pen and a paper. Here's the number to call. 357-6855. Or you can go online if you have one of the fancy computer kind of rigs at your house. asmronline.org. Not .com. They're not a money-making operation. They're a nonprofit organization. So asmronline.org or call 357-6855. Also on the ASMR calendar, because Susan McNeil is back running some of this stuff, and she has built that organization into the hardest working AIDS organization in show business. On Wednesday, August 12th at the E.F. Lane Hotel is Keene Comic for another year. It's a one-night competition with local comedians. That's $10 at the door. Saturday, August 22nd, Keene Idol. Keene Idol's been trimmed down from 6 weeks to one night. They have two audition sessions in July, and then on August 22nd will be the finale, which we'll be out there taping that. Tickets for that will be $12 in advance and $15 at the door. But I mean, all three of them, they're great shows. Who knows, maybe even I'll see about taking that Wednesday of Keene Comic off and giving a little comedy thing over there. All right, that's my plug for the night. Woo, we're done. Do you know there's a new airlines? But you can't fly it. It's called Pet Airways. It's strictly for pets. It's so you don't have to put your pet in the cargo hold. Of course, airlines lose kids who have a brain and can get from one place to another. What do you think they're going to do with your pets? But 35 of them flew on the maiden voyage of this Airwaves, and the owner of the company took the ride and acted as like a stewardess. I don't know if they passed out like little water bowls and doggy biscuits or what, but maybe. Sausages. Little tiny packages of sausages. Because I don't think dogs and cats will eat like smoked almonds. I don't think. And I'm also wondering what other kind of animals you could put on the thing. I mean, if you had a pet llama, could he fly? Or like a penguin, for instance. You could have, yes. See, the whole crew is joking me because I told them last week after the show last week, that I found out that penguins can climb trees. It's just that you never see them do it because there's not any trees where they live. But get a penguin, put him next to a tree, up he'll go. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. The top cities for the worst driving in the country were announced. Yeah. Keene's not one of them. Luckily. Not this year. Maybe next year we will be. I missed the fifth one in line. But I got you the top 4. I mean, it's hard to kind of watch that headline news stuff because the stories go by so fast. And I don't take shorthand. I have to write everything out. The number 1 worst city for driving is Washington, D.C. Seems like Washington, D.C. tops the worst of everything list, apparently. Worst crime, worst jobs, worst people. I don't know. Baltimore is second because they're right next door to Washington. So it only seems to be a little bleed over. Glendale, California. Who would have guessed? Glendale, California. I thought that was like one of them hoity-toity places. But apparently, bad driving as far as collisions and things like that. Number 4 is close. Hartford, Connecticut
Oh, I had fun going through
is number 4. Oh yeah, Hartford's a blast. Hell, people used to complain about Boston. And I would always tell everybody I would rather drive a car in New York City than to drive in Boston.
Oh, Boston.
Because in New York, everything is like square. And in Boston, it's like weird angles and streets coming out the wrong way and just stupid. It's like, when you go to I'm trying to think, there was a store in Keene. Was it A&P? On Roxbury Street. Or maybe it was the Hilson store. One of them had the indoor on the wrong side. And I always remember that because most of the times, in is on the right, out is on the left. Right. But it was swapped. And the number of people that would go up like a normal door and blam, including me. So, California. Another California story. I forgot to write down where it was. There's an onion processing plant out there that actually runs its entire plant energy-wise on onion waste. They produce all their own electricity on onion waste, and then what's left over from that process is just like a muck kind of a stuff, and that they pump into trucks and ship to Northern California to feed to the cows. So hey, if every business did that, then the whole friggin' place would smell like onions. I'm just saying. All right, let me do one more story. Because I did a story a few weeks ago, some of you diehards may remember, about the brothels in Germany and the things that they were doing to increase business and all that. Well, it seems a Berlin brothel has come up with a new way to help the economy. And it offers a discount to patrons who arrive on bicycles. Yeah. It's the Maison d'Envie brothel. And the owner, Thomas Getz, says, obviously, we hope that the discount will attract more people. It's good for business, and it's good for the environment, and it's good for the girls. Because, see, they get to have sex with people that are actually in shape. As opposed to those big, fat, bloated businessmen that most prostitutes have to deal with. Customers who arrive on a bicycle or who can prove they took public transportation will get a $7 discount from the usual $100 fee for 45 minutes. Yep. And he says the owner told the newspaper that the environmentally friendly offer is working. They have around 3 to 5 new customers coming in daily to take advantage of the discount. Adding that the green rebate has also helped to alleviate traffic and parking congestion. That's right. Pretty cool, huh? So instead of a huge parking lot, they've got a couple bike racks. That's kind of neat. All right. I'll save these other ones until after crew call. But we might as well have crew call because we have a crew. I mean, otherwise it would just be pointless. Camera one is Greg. And we've got people in the booth too.
Yeah.
Bruce and Andrea hanging out in there.
That's a good thing. Somebody's got to push all these buttons back here, man.
Well, that's right. And there's a lot of them.
We usually show up to do that.
I don't want nothing to do with it.
It's not like it's your show or anything. So, doing pretty well so far, Rick. We're having fun. Things are going well.
Yes.
Weather's getting better.
It's getting warm.
nicer. We're having fewer and fewer rainy days, but unfortunately, no race this weekend. Bummer. They're taking a week off again. So,
For what?
I don't know.
Is there like a reason?
I'm not sure. It must have been a hole in the schedule. Maybe they want to watch the ice road loggers from hell. I don't know.
It's get drunk weekend.
But it's
Hey.
it's one of those things. What are you gonna do?
All right. Well, hey, you know,
They're taking a break.
they can't handle working, 36 weeks in a row. Poor guys.
Life's rough all over, man.
Life is tough.
Yeah, but the race was pretty good because Kyle Busch didn't win again.
Yeah.
That made it real good. Mark Martin won, and which really it was an exciting race near the end. And lately, that's the way they've all been. They've been a little bit on the boring side. Then at the end, everybody comes alive, and it really is good. But anyways, the results were Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon second, Casey Kane third, Tony Stewart fourth, and Denny Hamlin fifth. So not too bad. They're still shaking up the standings a little bit on the lower end of it. But it's still Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards, Ryan Newman, Casey Kane. He came up 4 places into 8th. Juan Montoya came up 2 spots into 9th. And Kyle Busch is down in 10th. He lost 2 places. Oh, man, what a shame. Mark Martin, he's in 11th. He came up from just outside of the top 12. And then Matt Kenseth. But that's the way the standings are now. So there's just a few other little things going on. First off, Truex, my guy, lost 25 points because there's something on his back end was too high, and Bruce said it's the rear quarter panel, and I don't know what it is. I just watch him go. Anyways, it was too high by about 1/4 of an inch or so, and he ended up losing 25 points. His crew chief got fined $25,000. So all in all, it wasn't a bad fine, but still, it's the first points loss we've had actually since the season started. The other thing is, little tidbit is Matt Kenseth's wife had a baby girl, so now they are brand new parents all over again. Matt has a child by apparently a first wife, but a son I think his son is like 16, so now he's got a baby sister. But anyways, the other piece of news is that, as Rick said, Jeremy Mayfield failed his drug test. I was trying to find a polite way of putting it. He put it up, but now it's the old stepmother is doing me in ploy. He's now claiming that the stepmother is lying to him, lying about him to NASCAR, and NASCAR is giving her money to do it. So I think Jeremy needs to just kind of get off his high horse and, either clean up his act. And, apparently if he keeps failing them, he must be ingesting them somehow. But he needs to get off his high horse, stop bitching and squawking like that, and clean up his act, or else he'll never get back to racing. But anyways, there's no race this weekend for the Cup. There is a nationwide race, and honestly, I'm sorry, I can't recall where it's at. But next week, they will be at Indianapolis. and I believe it's what the I think it's the Brickyard. Yeah, the Brickyard, and that's always an exciting race. But they said the track's been redone. They have a new tire compound, so hopefully it'll be a whole lot better coming up than it was last year. Anyways, that's all there was going on.
If you remember last year's race,
Yeah.
it was horrible. They couldn't run more than about 15 laps without losing tires, and it was just a horrendous race. Goodyear got killed because of that race. But alluding to Martin Truex's penalty, I think this is the first penalty in the newer car that has been less than 100 points, $100,000 as far as a fine goes. So I guess NASCAR's finally settled down and realized that this is, their standard's going to be 25 and 25 now instead of hitting everybody as hard, because everybody's been playing by the rules for the most part. But yeah, it was the right rear quarter panel on Martin Truex's car was 1/4 inch too high in post-race inspection, and I guess he just used more gas than he expected to. But it's kind of silly that they're going to pound him for just 1/4 inch. But life goes on. Rules are rules are rules. So back to you, Rick.
Hey, thanks, Bruce. Just trying to figure out which one of these stupid stories I want to do next. Let's start with Washington because I like to say this name. Sonia Sotomayor. Sonia Sotomayor. She's the justice lady being interrogated to get on the Supreme Court. So they've been raking her over the coals, asking her what she thinks about this, what she thinks about that, what she thinks about this.
Is that an American name?
I believe she's American because she's gonna be a Supreme Court justice, but she doesn't really look. She looks almost like maybe she was Mexican and then American, or maybe somewhere. But yeah, we're all Americans, aren't we? For the most part. But where the problem came is with the new junior senator from Minnesota. Anybody know who that is in here in my crew?
Is it the comedian?
Greg knows the comedian. That's right, Al Franken. Yeah, Al Franken. When it was his turn to ask a question, he asked Ms. Sotomayor if she could recall a key point of law. What was the one case that TV defense lawyer Perry Mason actually lost? And she didn't know. Yeah. And apparently the twist is that Franken and later the White House may not have had all the facts about the series starring Raymond Burr. The truth is that Perry Mason didn't win every case. In fact, at least 3 decisions went against him. It lists losses in the case of the witless witness, the case of the terrified typist, and the case of the deadly verdict. But notes that Perry Mason triumphs before the final credits. Other websites only list the last 2 as losses. Sotomayor said that Perry Mason was influential in her legal career and that she admired the character of prosecutor Hamilton Berger, who faced Mason repeatedly in court, but won only one case. I don't know. She's been grilled, though, at her confirmation hearing. And at the end, I guess when Franken was wrapping up, he asked Sotomayor, didn't the White House prepare you for that? So, the committee's Democratic chairman, Senator Patrick Leahy, said, we will not hold your inability to answer against you. So good. She doesn't have to worry about the fake things. She can start worrying about real things. Like this. We'll get right back here to New Hampshire with another story. Apparently over in Manchester, this guy named Josh Musinski
Got bad luck.
used his debit card to buy a pack of Pall Malls at a gas station. No big deal. We've all done that. It's stupid to use your debit card because there's charges, and we already pay enough for cigarettes. Well, a couple hours later, Mr. Musinski checked his banking stuff online, and found out that he'd been charged 23 quadrillion 148 trillion 855 billion 308,184,500 for his pack of smokes.
Tax
Yeah.
rate went up.
That's where I draw the line. When cigarettes reach $23 quadrillion a pack, I quit. All right? That's the line. There was a Bank of America card. On top of the $23 quadrillion they charged him for the smokes, the bank charged him a $15 overdraft fee. That would have put me into just plain really confused and upset into like, where the hell can I buy a Uzi? Yeah. That $15 would have probably sent me over the edge. And I mean,
What are they
you
doing
would
paying
think
that?
that when you call the bank and you say, I think there's a problem, they would pull up your account and go, 17 digits. Yeah, there's a problem. But no, it took them 2 hours to straighten it out. Like, are you sure you didn't spend $23 quadrillion on cigarettes?
At a mini mart.
A mini mart, yeah. Taxes. It's taxes. That's what it is. But yeah, I mean, it's nuts. If you call the bank and say, I think I was overcharged because the charge on my statement is $23 quadrillion, I would think the bank would say,
I think so.
we'll straighten that out, and would you like a toaster? Or something.
It's because everything is computerized now. You don't get face-to-face with people, and they can hire people that just know how to push buttons and don't have a damn bit of common sense.
That's right. Yeah. Isn't it a shame? All right. Are we close to a musical interlude, Bruce? Because if we are, tonight on a Mom's Tattoo musical interlude from the 2007 Music Fest, Soup Bone Throne.
About it, I will open just to see if you will run. Hold all my dirty secrets, you can't tell anyone. What if I'm wrong about you? Am I such easy prey? Tell me I'm kidding myself, just by lying you can't stay. Just say I'm crazy, I will do anything at all. Just name it. I will do anything at all. They told me not to chase you, but then now all in place. Maybe they talk too much, well I'm through with them anyway. I'll wrap you tight around me. Step easy, watch the soul. Say when you tire of this, I will give you breathing hold. Just say I'm crazy, I will do anything at all. Just name it, I'm crazy, I will do anything at all. Just say I'm crazy, I will do anything at all. Just name it, I'm crazy, I will do anything at all.
Soup on Throne. They were great, man. So apparently, the only way to pull off a Sunday afternoon quickie with their 8-year-old son in the apartment was to send him out on the balcony with a popsicle and tell him to report on the neighborhood activities. So he began his commentary from the porch as his parents put their little plan into action. He says, there's a car being towed from the parking lot. A little while later, he says, an ambulance just drove by. A while later, he says, looks like the Andersons are having company. A while later, he says, Matt's riding a new bike. Later, he says, looks like the Sanders are moving. He says, Jason's on his skateboard. A little while later, he says, the Coopers are screwing. His mom and dad shot up like a rocket out of bed. Dad yells out, how do you know they're screwing? He says, because Jimmy Cooper's out on the balcony with a popsicle. Yeah. You look around the neighborhood, all the little kids are out at the same time. And not a parent to be seen. The American League won the All-Star game, I guess. So, woohoo, big deal. I'm in British Columbia. A Canadian boy celebrating his 3rd birthday was playing with other relatives at his campsite and riding his toy truck. He had a toy truck. They were camping near Fort St. John in northeastern British Columbia. I guess the boy and his truck ended up in the Peace River, where the boy floated on top of his truck for 7.8 miles.
Wow.
Yeah. It says later police were alerted and began a search, and a boater found the boy and the toy. After nearly a 2-hour journey down the swift-moving river, the boy had no injuries and was apparently unaware of the danger he was in. Yeah, because, I mean, he's 3 years old. He don't know drowning from nothing, you know? One of the constables said he was very excited to see the police, though. I mean, as any young kid, you know? Oh, the police. Local news report said that the boy also made sure the boater who found him also retrieved the toy truck. So, but yeah, parents probably freaking out. Kids just like do. Kind of like Sweet Pea and all the Popeye cartoons, where he like wanders through the construction site and shit. Yeah, parents, you gotta keep better eyes on your kids. Jesus. And ladies, keep better eyes on your panties. Because in Athens, Tennessee, a man's been charged with public intoxication after authorities found him walking along Highway 11 with a pair of panties hanging out of his unzipped pants. According to the local newspaper, the 31-year-old man told deputies he'd been at a pool party and stole them from a nearby home on Sunday. When they searched the man, they found 40 pairs of female undergarments in his pants. Although he had thrown most of them to the ground as the deputy approached. The owner of the garments declined to prosecute, and the man was arrested on public intoxication. Yeah. See, now that sounds like a good case for like disorderly conduct, not filming in a court lobby. You know. All right. All right. On July 5th, that was 2 Sundays ago, I went to Fitchburg, took a camera and went to Fitchburg. I've now got 2 hours of footage I have no idea what I'm going to do with. But I went down to a bicycle race down there. Next week I'll have the clips. I'll work on them this weekend and get them done for next week. The race is known as the Fitchburg Longs Joe Classic. the race that they raced on July 5th, July 2nd to July 5th, because it's a 4-day event, was the 50th running of this event. It includes a time trial, a circuit race, a road race, and a criterium in downtown Fitchburg. Downtown, that's right. They block off the streets. It's basically like our Pumpkin Fest, only Fitchburg does it for a bicycle race. I was able to see Fitchburg Access TV's setup. They were out filming the entire thing and broadcasting live all day long, which was very cool because they've got, like, I don't know, a $500,000 production truck. You know, beautiful rig. You know, and I came back here, and when I came to work on Monday morning, I told Lee, I said, you know what? I said, I've seen our future. And it looked cool. It looked great. And yeah, eventually someday we'll get like that. And I actually went on to Fitchburg Access's website. They've got 3 channels. They've got 3 channels of public access. Yeah. They've actually got a government channel, an educational channel, and a public channel. That's right. Maybe someday. Anyway, let me get back to this race because
School board, 24 hours a day.
yeah, I mean, school board. Well, the educational channel has like their school board stuff. It has like NASA stuff, you know, and that kind of educational type programming. The government channel has like the Democracy Now! And the council meetings and all the civic stuff. But anyway, we get back to this race. It's 50 years old. It was first held It was first known in 1960 as the Fitchburg Longs Joe Memorial Race. And in 1980, it was renamed by the United States Cycling Federation as the Fitchburg Longs Joe Classic. And it's one of the very few bicycle races in the country that is designated as a classic. The race was named for Art Longs Joe, who was originally a speed skater from Fitchburg. But he became a bicyclist because he took up cycling as part of his speed skater training. Because cycling and speed skating use a lot of the same muscles, the same tactics, and things like that. So in 1953, he raced in his first bicycle race, which was the Massachusetts State Championship, and he wore a t-shirt, cut-off skating tights, and moccasins. And he had borrowed a helmet. He didn't have a car, so he rode the bike for the hour-and-a-half journey to the Westboro Raceway, and he had to keep stopping along the way to inflate his front tire, which was leaky. Yeah. He competed in 3 events that day, the 1-mile race, the 3-mile race, and the 25-mile race, and won all 3. Phenomenal guy. That success qualified him for the national championships in St. Louis. The local Fitchburg newspaper started a fundraiser, which mostly went to buy him a racing uniform. Local racers helped him fix his bike, and a second fundraiser went towards travel expenses to get him out to St. Louis. He crashed twice during 4 races, but came in 3rd in the 3-mile and ended up 9th overall. Not too bad for the second race of your life. The 3rd race was at the New England Track Championships in Rhode Island, and he won all 4 events in that race. In January of 1954, he attended the National Championships for Speed Skating, and he set a national record in the 2-mile event and won the 5-mile. Unfortunately, falls in other races cost him a lot of points, and he ended up finishing 2nd overall. Later that year, in Lake Placid, he won 2 events and scored second in 2 others to become the North American champion, indoor champion. And before that, he had become the North American outdoor champion in speed skating. So now he was champion in both indoor and outdoor events. And at that time, amateur athletes were expected to fund themselves. And Art Longsdale wasn't like a rich guy. So through donations and hard work, he managed to get through. In 1954 was his first full season of bicycle racing, and he won his second Massachusetts state championship. He finished 4th in the Tour of Somerville, which was a really prestigious race. 4th overall in the national championships, and he won the longest one-day amateur race in the world, which is the Quebec to Montreal race, 170 miles. And he broke the course record by 7 minutes. He was named, for that victory, he was named Canadian Cyclist of 1954 by the Association of Cyclists in Canada. In February of 1955, the Olympic speed skating trials were held. And he attended, along with a childhood friend, Dick Ring, who to this day announces the Fitchburg Longs-Joe Classic. He's the bicycle announcer, the race announcer. And he's been doing it for almost every year that it's been run. Despite a knee injury, Art Longsdale won the 5,000-meter event and made the Olympic team. And unfortunately, he became ill just before his event in the Olympics and finished 40th. In 1956, he won almost every bike race he entered. The Olympic cycling trials that year consisted of 2 116-mile road races, 3 days apart. And the top 3 finishers in each race were selected. Top 3 finishers in the first race were selected as the top 2 in the second. Shortly after the start of the race, Longsdale's rear tire burst. He was also having derailleur problems and was forced to pull out of the race. During the second, much more aggressive race, Longsdale got into a breakaway of 20 riders, and competing for 2 positions on the Olympic team, he finished half a bike length down from the winner, made the Olympic team. Unfortunately, at that time, cycling in the Olympics was a little bit different, and officials determined which event you would compete in. Well, Longsdale had been assigned to the 4,000-meter team pursuit, and the team never made it through the preliminary heats. But Arthur Longsdale became the first person ever to compete in both the Summer and the Winter Olympics in the same year. And that's basically what he's known for. After the Olympics, he continued to race and win every race he started. In July, he won his 6th straight Massachusetts State Championship. And in August, he rode a 4-day event in Eastern Canada. He then attended the Quebec to Montreal race, where his earlier record still stood, and he won that race again. Here's where the story takes a little bit of a twist. Because after winning the Quebec to Montreal race, he was a local celebrity and did local TV interviews. He was 26 years old and in the prime of his life. And on the return trip from Canada, coming through Vermont, he was asleep in the passenger seat, and at around 11:15, a bee that was in the car distracted the driver, and the driver swatted at the bee and lost control of the car on a curve, and Art Longsdale was killed, 26 years old. So, the pallbearers for his casket were 3 Olympic speed skaters and 3 Olympic cyclists. And in his memory, the Fitchburg Longsdale Memorial Race was started, and huge memorial was built in downtown Fitchburg. And it's one of the few public memorials for an athlete, and it lies on the race course. I believe it's in the Common. Over the 50 years that they've been running this race has attracted top-ranked cyclists from around the world. And I just want to drop a few names of people that have actually raced in Fitchburg at this race. Some of the former race entrants were Tour de France winners Greg LeMond and Lance Armstrong, Eric and Beth Hayden, Rebecca Twigg, Connie Carpenter and Davis Finney, Kathy Watt, numerous Olympic teams, and many other world-class athletes. And Arthur Longsjo's widow, Terry Longsjo, still attends the race every year. And it's funny because I was walking around down there shooting footage, and I walked up the street past this people sitting in lawn chairs on the side of the street. And the guy turned around and said, "Aren't you Rick Blood?" They were a couple from Keene. And they go down every year to watch this event. And they told me they would give up the Pumpkin Fest if Keene would do a bicycle race like that. They just as soon do without the Pumpkin Fest. Bring in the cyclists. Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic. Good turnout. All right. German people are stupid. Really. Because, I mean, everything happens in Germany. This German guy who tried to fix a leaky air mattress using tire repair solvent to plug the hole, he used the tire repair solvent, left it overnight, and then the next day went to inflate the air mattress with an electric air pump, and a spark from the air pump, boom, exploded the mattress. The blast pushed the living room wall into the building's stairwell and caused extensive damage to the walls, windows, and furniture. Firefighters had to come and evacuate the 12-apartment building while they checked for structural damage. Crazy.
That's great.
My dad was inflating an air mattress and it exploded on him, knocked him over backwards, blew the dog under the couch, and blew the front windows and the wall right out away from everything. There were several inches out. He had to hire somebody to come in and fix it.
Yeah.
It really happened.
So now this German guy needs a new mattress. Somebody else that needs a new mattress is the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department. Needs new mattresses for their new jail addition. So they had a brilliant idea. They said, let's take July 30th and we'll advertise, and for the one day, we'll let anybody that wants to stay overnight in our jail for a fee. So for $50 a person or $90 a couple, you can tour the new facility, learn more about the jail, and stay overnight. And they'll get Jefferson County bed and breakfast t-shirts. They'll get snacks and souvenir mugshots.
You gotta pay me to do that.
They'll also get a get out of jail free card. And anybody who wants to leave early will have to pay an extra $10. How cool is that? Why don't we do that? We're getting ready to open a new jail. Why not pick a date, open it up, and say, hey, if you want to come and see what our facility's like, come and spend overnight. We'll have a little picnic, we'll waterboard you, we'll handcuff you, strip search you, delouse you, and then you can get a good night's sleep. All for one low price. And Mr. Van Wickler could walk down, rattling the bars and yelling at people and stuff. That would be kind of cool. So they get the feeling for what it's like to be a real prisoner.
Nah, I don't want that.
I don't know. I've been thinking about doing it. I told Lee I might have to go up, do something wrong so I can go to jail for right when it opens. I want to go there, but I don't want to spend more than a month, but I want to be up there before it gets all trashy. You know, while it's still a really nice place,
Yeah,
you know?
I opened the dairy
That's the
jail,
time.
The new dairy jail at the police department. I was the first.
Oh, in Derry?
Yeah, I was the first prisoner in the new jail cell.
What did you do wrong? Never mind, don't tell me, Greg. We're going. Greg was the first prisoner in Derry. That's cool.
I wrote my name on the wall.
Speaking of Derry, over that way, I heard today on Channel 9 that they found a kayaker that had drowned over there in Lake Massabesic, I believe. Where I lost it in the story, they said this guy and his fiance had been kayaking there like hundreds of times. But he was wearing jeans and shoes with no life vest, and he didn't know how to swim.
Oh.
For one thing, if you are going to go out in a boat, know how to swim. Otherwise, keep your ass on the beach. You don't go, you know, I'd like to be a kayaker, but I don't know how to swim. You know, because nobody ever falls out of kayaks. So I don't have to learn how to swim. You know, if you want to take up boating, canoeing, kayaking, water skiing, learn how to swim first. At least how to dog paddle. You know, even dogs know how to swim. But, I mean, it's a sad thing. But, like I said, stupid. If you go out in a boat and you don't know how to swim, wear a life preserver. Jesus, every single year, the Boating Safety Commission or whoever, you know, American Boaters Association comes and tells people, you know, wear a life vest, know how to swim, know all the procedures. It drives me nuts to have to go through that. All right, hey, well, we're getting down there. Up next on No Spin is Police Chief Art Walker, Fire Chief Gary Lamro, and they'll be talking about icebergs, Colombian bush ants, and English muffins. Not really. Not really. They'll be talking about, you know, like police
That would've been a
stuff.
good show.
Police stuff and fire stuff, you know? That kind of like hero stuff, you know? Because, hey, cops and fire department, hero guys. So stay tuned, watch, and you'll see just, you know, they'll tell it like it is. I want to thank my crew. I want to thank Mom's Tattoo, who sponsors us. I want to thank Cheshire TV. Say happy birthday. Till next week. Peace.
Stop. There are kids watching. That's no way to teach kids how to behave.